Welcome back to TryHackMe Advent of Cyber 2025. Today is going to be day number 7, Network Discovery, Scan to Clause. So let's get into it. So in this room, we're going to discover how to scan network ports and uncover what is hidden behind them. This says it should take only 30 minutes to complete and is an easy difficulty room. Alright, so what's the story for day 7? It says that Christmas preparations are delayed. HopSec has breached our QA environment and locked us out. Without it, the TBFC projects can't be tested and our entire SOCMIS pipeline is frozen. To make things worse, the server is slowly transforming into a twisted EastMIS node. Can you uncover HopSec's trail, find a way back to the TBFC-dev QA01, and restore the server before the bunnies takeover is complete? For this task, you'll need to check every place to hide, every opened port that the bunnies left open. Good luck. So the learning objectives is that we're going to learn the basics of network service discovery with Nmap. We're going to learn core networking protocols and concepts along the way, and we're going to apply our knowledge to find a way back into the server. Now for this, it says that we are going to be having an attack box today, also a virtual machine. So we'll need to stop both of those. Of course, as you know, it will take about 2 minutes for these machines to start, but after we click the start button on them, the attack box will start in the split view. In case we don't see it, we can always click the show split view button at the top of the page. So let's start these 2 machines and we'll be back after they start up. Alright, so now that the 2 boxes have been started, the attack machine and the target machine with the following IP addresses, we can answer the question below saying that we have successfully launched the target machine and the attack box. Alright, so let's continue down to the activity, the network discovery services. So although we lost access to the QA server, at least it is still active. And we know the IP address. That's the good news. Since now we can counterattack and hopefully find our way back. Ensure you understand basic networking concepts like networking ports, and let's plan the engagement. So first we want to know our target. In this case, it's the TBFC-dev QA01 server with the IP address of 10.66.189.53. We're going to scan the IP for any open ports, especially common ones like SSH and HTTP 20 and 80. We're also going to explore what's behind these open ports. Maybe it's a vulnerable web server running on port 80, for example. And we're going to exploit the exposed service to find a way in and kick out the bad bunnies from the QA server. Along with the practical of today's task, we're going to find 3 keys. Keep note of them since we'll use them later for the web app, and the format will be key name semicolon key. Now first, it says the simplest port scan. Now there are many tools that we can use to search for any open ports on a network, from pre-installed Netcat on Linux and PowerShell on Windows to specialized tools like Nmap and Naboo. We're going to use Nmap for this task and perform a basic scan from the attack box or our own VPN connected attacking machine. And we're going to open a new command line terminal and run these commands. So let's open up the terminal in our attack box here. And we are going to Nmap, which is just used for searching for any open ports. And we're going to do the IP address of our target machine, 10.66.189.53. And this might take a minute, but it will show us any open ports on the network, and we can see right away we have SSH on port 22, TCP, and port 80, HTTP, both in an open state. So this means that we can access this server using SSH. Or we can open up the website by visiting the URL 10.66.189.53 on Firefox. So we can actually go and visit that website on Firefox. So let's go to http://10 10.66.189.53. Alright, so on the website we see it says that our QA server has answered the request for access, and it has been pawned by HopSec, and it says Eastmist is taking over. And it asks us to enter the key. But at least we know we can access it and what services it has, right? So as we can see, it looks like the website was defaced by the bad bunnies, and we don't know the key to enter the admin portal. But don't worry, we just scanned the most common ports out there, the first 1,000. But we all know there are 65,535 ports out there, so there's other ones they can hide on. So if we do the same command of nmap, and we do the -p argument, this will scan all ports. We're also going to do the --script equal banner to see what's likely behind the ports. And again, we got to do the IP address 10.66.189.53. So of course, since we're scanning all these ports, it's definitely going to take a minute in any environment. Alright, so we're going to let this scan, and we'll be back once it's done scanning. Alright, so it looks like it finished scanning, and we already knew port 22 SSH and port 80 HTTP were open. Right, we can also see here port 21.21.2 TCP is open, and it's running a service called Trinket Agent, as well as 25.25.1 is running an unknown service. So it says in the instructions, it looks like we found a running FTP server and some custom TBFC applications. Even though FTP runs on port usually 20 and 21, by default, it's possible to change the port to any other port, such as 21.21.2. So let's try accessing this FTP server in anonymous mode with the FTP command and see if we can find our way in. So it says we're going to follow these instructions here for it. So we're going to do FTP and then just the IP address 10.66.189.53. And of course, since we have not the default port for the FTP server, we're going to have to specify it, right? So 21.21.2, enter. So it says we are connected and asking for a name. Now we're going to use anonymous. So we're going to do ANONYMOUS, anonymous. And now we are logged in with anonymous. So we can do ls to see what's in here. And we can see that the TBFC _QA _key1 is in here. Now we can actually look at this by typing get TBFC _QA _key 1. We have gotten this key. So now we can exit. So we can just do an exclamation mark and press enter, and this should exit us out of the FTP. So we found our first flag. Good job. And there's nothing more to see on the FTP server, so we're going to move on to the custom TBFC app, which we saw, which was on port 25.25.1. And since there's no well-known service like HTTP or FTP, our web browser or FTP client won't work to access it. It says here that we have a command called netcat nc, which is a universal tool to interact with network services. So let's do that. So I'm going to clear my screen. All right, so we're going to use the command nc-v. If you want to see any of the other commands, we can do a -help usually, and it'll show us everything we're going to be doing. We're doing a -v for Verbose. So we're going to do nc-v 10.66.189.53.25.25.1 as the port. All right, so we're going to connect to it. And it says we can type help for a list of commands. So we're going to type help, all caps. And it says we can use help, status, get, key, or quit. We can get status in here and see the status being the port and the armed for 33 seconds. We can do the get key command to get the key, which is this. We want to make sure we have this somewhere. All right, guys. So I'm just going to copy it. And we can also see what quit does. So if we type in quit in all caps, it will exit us out of this and say bye. Okay, so put us back into our terminal here. So now we're going to talk about TCP and UDP ports. So it says, congratulations on getting the second flag, but where to look for the third one? Till now, we've only scanned TCP ports, but in the total of 65,535 ports, we have not searched for UDP yet, which is another transport protocol. So that's what we're going to do now. So we can switch to UDP by using the -su in the Nmap command. So Nmap -lowercase s capital U 10.66.189.53. So let's give this a minute to scan for UDP ports. Okay, it found port 53 being UDP open for domain. We know port 53 is DNS. And DNS is just a modern protocol that drives how we connect to the web via using domains to IPs and many more. DNS is a complex topic and many secrets can hide there, but let's just ask the DNS server if it knows the key by using the dig command -a to perform an advanced DNS query. So we're going to do dig and an @ and then the IP address 10.66.189.53. We're going to see if there's any text and then do key 3.tbfc.local plus short. And running this will get us our third key right here. So we're going to copy that as well. Now it does talk about on-host service discovery. So it says, now that we know all three keys to the TBFC dev QA01 QA server, it's time to call our TBFC teammates and kick out the bad bunnies. But first, log into the server admin portal by visiting the URL http://10.66.189.53 from within the attack box and access the secret admin console by submitting the combined keys. So like I said, we're going to access the URL, which we already have open, and we're going to enter the key. So this is going to be a combined of all the keys that we have, right? So key 1, key 2, key 3 separated by underscores. So I'm going to copy and paste them in here. Copy, paste, which basically just says that Easter is the new Xmas. All right, so that is the key that we're going to use to get into the admin portal. So we're going to press unlock on here. And it says that was the correct key. All right, so that says that was the correct key. And now the admin portal terminal is unlocked. So we're going to press go to terminal. And now we're in the secret admin console. Now, it tells us once we have access to the console, there's no need to scan ports, as we can simply ask the OS to list the open ports. We can do this by running the ss-tune LP command or netstat on older systems inside this console. If we press enter, we're going to see a very long output. In the output, we may see the exact same ports that we just scanned for, right? Listening on 0.0.0.0, but also some listening on 127.0.0.1, also known as the loopback adapter, being the host itself. So it says within root permissions, you can also view the process columns. However, for now, let's focus on port 3306. So let's scroll down, 3306, port number, this one, this whole line right here. Right, this is the default for the MySQL database port. Usually databases require a password for remote clients, but allow unauthenticated. Usually databases require a password for remote clients, but allow unauthenticated logins from our local host. Since we're already inside the local host, we can access the database by just typing MySQL. We can do a MySQL dash capital D, the TBFCQA01-E, and we're going to do showing tables. So show tables, and then enter. All right, so it says tables in the TBFCQA01, and it just says flags. So we can do the same command, MySQL-D TBFCQA01-E. I'm going to do select from the flags to get off flag. All right, and it says that it gave us a flag in the first field being THM all services discovered. And we're just going to copy that so we know what the flag is. So great job on finding this flag. We have now exposed all the bunny secrets and regained full access to our QA server. So now it's time to talk about all ports. So now it's time to secure all these ports and restore the SOCMIS preparation pipeline. But for now, we're going to answer the questions to finish the task. So it says, what evil message did we see at the top of the website? Well, it's right here, pawned by Hopsec. Right, so that's the secret message that we see, pawned by Hopsec. The next question is, what was the first key pot found on the FTP server? Well, we know that was Easter with a 3 instead of an E and an underscore. All right. It's going to ask us what the second key that we found in the TBFC app was, and that was the but actually has the 15 underscore THE 3 underscore. All right, it's going to ask us what the key for the third part was when we looked at the DNS records, and that was when it said new Xmas, right? But instead of new, they replaced the E with a 3, and they did an underscore, and they replaced A and S with 4 and 5. It says, what port was the MySQL database running? We already know that, 3306. Lastly, it asks, what is the final flag that we found? And that was this flag right here, all the way at the bottom. All right, so we can copy that and then paste it right here. And then check it. All right, and of course it always says, if you've enjoyed this room, feel free to check out the Nmap the Basics room. So we're going to check that off. All right, so we did it. We completed the network discovery scan to clause room. This was a very easy room, and it didn't take that long to complete either. So I hope you guys enjoyed. That was day number 7. We'll be back here for the next day, day number 8. All right, I'll see you then. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.